Welcome back. It's your favorite bookish babe, Bree, and today I want to talk to you guys about something that I listened to last year, and then it influenced some of the books that I bought, and I read them in 2023. And we're gearing up again because it's the end of the year for more reviews. So here it is. Last year, the New York Times started publishing their top 10 books of 2020, whatever the year is. So last year was 2022, and they published their last 10 plus some honorable mentions. It was a panel of probably about maybe less than 10 people, I believe. And they basically talked about their favorite books. The backdrop is those people who sit on the panel work for the New York Times, and all throughout the year, they're reading books nonstop, all throughout the day, all throughout the year. They're well acquainted with a lot of the books that are published throughout that year. And so then in the end, they recommend what books they really enjoy. And I'm so excited because there's a few that they're already like starting to make their list. So Barnes and Noble is starting to make their list. Goodreads is starting to make their list. New York Times. I'm so excited. You can watch the old YouTube footage of them like sitting on the panel discussing different books. But after that, I decided I wanted to make a few purchases based on how they described the book and really how they sold it to me. And I was like, oh, I have to get these. Now, I didn't get every single one of them because I actually, looking back, I wanted to get the Damon Copperhead, which is basically like a David Copperfield retelling, if I'm saying that correctly. But anyway, it was like almost like a modern day retelling of it. I didn't get that one, but I keep seeing it pop up and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I need this book. Anyway, these are the books that I did get. So for their top 10, they had, and I'll go through their top 10, then I'll go through their honorable mentions, and then I'll tell you my favorite. Candy House, I read this one. I would probably rate this maybe like a 3.5, and that's just for me. It was fiction, but basically, this book was what if you and me could decide as a collective we want to give our memories over, and in exchange for me sharing my memories, I get your memories, and we all get to view each other's memories from the lens of that person. So this book explores if there was some type of database where we could view people, we could find out stories about what happened to them. We could find out more about our parents' lives by living their experiences. It deals with ethics, being able to take someone else's memories with if they're on their deathbed. It deals with spying. What if we could? They deal with like inserting these like, let's say, an eyeball into someone's eye, and then from there you can spy on people. And so like sending people out with like artificial eyes that can spy on people, or just having the memories. This book questions like, what if we use memories to solve cases like in a court of law, because we see exactly what has happened. And so this book was really good. I would say the thing to remember though is I would recommend this to someone who is okay with a book that doesn't really get to the point. Like, there's no end point with this book. This book feels like reading a book of what ifs. And if you feel like you're someone who's good with sitting with time and space and just listening to an author kind of take thoughts and then just keep going with it for a while, and then changing it up, taking a thought and then going with it for a while. It's like short stories. They all kind of intertwine. Some of them are wild. Some of them are wild. Some of them feel like, oh, is that true? Could that really? I feel like that could kind of be true though, or possible. And so it's very weird like that. But anyway, it's really good. And so yes, Candy House by Jennifer Egan. So I enjoyed it. It was weird, but I enjoyed it. And then I have the honorable mentions. The Furrows. Really enjoyed this book. If I had to say something it compares to, I would say Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Very much reminds me of this. Family dynamics. It looks at grief. The boy is lost to the water, or the boy and the son, he and the brother, he's lost to the water. And this visits how an entire family views grief and how differently they can view grief, and deal with it in the aftermath of a unexpected unaliving. Okay. So this was another honorable mention. Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. I saved the two that I feel like the best for last, I would say. Loved this book. I bought this book after listening to it like in the audiobook, and then also having got it from the library, which is usually what I like to do. If I like the book, then I'll actually go back and buy it and add it to my shelves. I really enjoyed this book, y'all. This book is about a friend group, and they're video gamers, and it takes you through the course of their life, parts of their childhood, parts of adulthood. There's well, I won't give too much. I'll just say it was really good. It was really fun. It made me appreciate video games in a different way, that I wasn't really accustomed to. I like that the main character, he has some issues with his body, and is differently abled. And I liked that there were some new terms that I learned around, kind of his circumstances, and also too how their stories lead them into gaming. I really liked that. And for him, it was like spending a lot of time in the children's hospital, and then him having this friendship. So anyway, long story short, really appreciate it. Really loved how even the title of this book ties into the storylines. Really loved some of the characters that were hard to love. They were like, okay. Um, Love the artwork for this as it ties in, and you'll kind of figure it out as the book goes on. Very creative, just fun to read. Fun book, and very thoughtful. I feel like the author, with Gabriel Zevin, excuse me. I feel like the author really took their time to weave all of these details together. That's what I appreciate most about this book. This book made me actually go out and get my own little Nintendo. I was like, you know what? I kind of want a game. I had already been watching like Cozy Gamers, online. And I was like, you know what? This book really made me go out and get a whole Nintendo Switch. Now, I typically play Zelda. I have like Disney and a few other games on here. And of course, it's Powerpuff Girls. But yeah, I love that book, and it made me get my Nintendo Switch, and it has been really fun. This, An Immense World, was the last book that I purchased from their recommendations for books, best books. Hands down, if you've ever watched Animal Planet, this book is like the literature version of Animal Planet. This book is like watching a BBC special, except it's in a book. This book, though, what I think is different is that it explores the Umwelt or Umwelten of animals, which this entire book is based in the fact that a lot of times as humans, we look at the animal kingdom as being able to sense things, but we look at it from our human eyes. So we expect what touch means for us to be what touch means for a different animal, or what eyesight means for us to be the same thing that eyesight means for a different animal. There are some really, really cool things that different animals, different species can do. And also, we have connections to them. One of the chapters, and I'll just give this as an example. One of the chapters discusses echolocation, which is basically like, and bats do this, but also humans can too, echolocation. So you basically create a sound, and based on how that sound goes out into the world and then comes back to your ears, you're able to sense the world around you. And so if you look at him on YouTube, there's actually a guy, he's blind, and he teaches other blind people how to use echolocation. And he literally he knows how to ride a bike. There's all these different things, and he teaches kids. So he makes this almost like this clicking sound. And based on how the clicking sound comes back to him, he can tell whether he's standing in an arena that's circular. He can tell whether there's space in front of him. And so he's learned all of these ways to function and ways to do things that people couldn't imagine he could do because he's blind, but he's used echolocation. He's used his hearing. So loved this book. And it also made me look at my dog differently. This book answered some questions that I had about birds. There are just so many really, really, really cool animal facts. If you like animals, you like the animal kingdom, even if it's not like super, super like, oh, that's my thing, I'm telling you, you'll love it. If you like Animal Planet or BBC specials, you like to watch the bird do their little dances, their little Chris Brown dances for the other birds, you will love this book. Y'all, I love this book. Even the little insects that you wouldn't even know, all these insects are making noises. Like they have an entire orchestra going. And they're using leaves to create vibrations. And you probably can't hear it, but they're making these noises until you get like some type of amplifier to really like tap in. Y'all, owls, all kinds of animals, and just the way that they all sense. And last thing, because I love this book, they talked about how there's ultraviolet colors that we can't see, that the rest of the animal kingdom can see. And how even the bees, the bumblebees, that when they look at a sunflower, that they can see the bull's eye within the sunflower where they should get the pollen from, because they have ultraviolet abilities to see other colors that we can't see. The same way our dogs can't see all the other colors that we can see. And so they describe it as like purplish, where it's like a mixture of all these different colors, but we'll never really know because we're humans and we can't see it. Ugh, chef's kiss. Love this book. Last random fact. Did you know that when it comes to an animal that can withstand really cold, extreme cold and extreme heat temperatures, is actually a squirrel? They can hibernate in I'm talking about icebox cold temperatures. It's a squirrel. So random. So random. But love this book. So give these books a try. An Immense World, Ed Yong. Oh, Pulitzer Prize winner. Really awesome. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Candy House, Jennifer Egan. The Furrows by Namwali Serpell. Hope I said that right. And I can't wait to check out what they recommend for 2023. All right.